Hello everyone, welcome to Practical English Usage Online course. Today our lesson topic is intonation. In this lesson, we'll introduce what intonation is and why it is important in speaking and oral reading. After the lesson, we'll have a practice and a quiz, so let's start our lesson. We're going to discuss three major types of intonation in this lesson. They are 1. Rising intonation, 2. Falling intonation, and 3. Rising and falling intonation. When speakers are asking for clarification or using yes/no questions, rising intonation will be used. When speakers are showing completion or statements or using WH questions, falling intonation will be used. But when speakers are making a list of choices or items, rising and falling intonations will be put together in one sentence. Let's listen to an example of rising intonation. Can you open the door for me? This sentence is a yes/no question, so rising intonation has to be made. Let's listen to an example of a falling intonation. Where do you live? I love reading. The first sentence is a WH question, and the second sentence is a statement, so falling intonation has to be used. Let's listen to an example of rising and falling intonation. I want to have coffee, ice cream, and apple pie. Because the speaker is making a list of items in the sentence, both rising and falling intonations has to be made. The reason why intonation is very important is because intonation helps communication. If speakers have flat intonation, listeners will lose their interest. For example, listen to the following two sentences. Are you busy this weekend? Are you busy this weekend? Which sentence helps you understand better? The second one catches attention more and is easier to follow because it has appropriate intonation. Now, let's try to practice what we have learned. In this practice, please listen and identify intonation types. Are they rising, falling, or rising and falling? 1. Was it a hoax? 2. Did you go to school yesterday? 3. How often does Bill look for lamps? 4. Who made the crop circles? 5. I want to hike, ski, and shop. For sentence 1, it has a rising intonation. For sentence 2, it has a rising intonation. For sentence 3, it has a falling intonation. For sentence 4, it has a falling intonation. For sentence 5, it has a rising and falling intonation. Now, let's try to practice what we have learned. Quiz 1. Please read the statement and choose true or false. Speakers express their feelings through different intonations. The answer is true. Quiz 2. Please read the statement and choose true or false. Speakers always use rising intonations in making questions. The answer is false. Speakers usually use rising intonations in yes/no questions. Now, let's review the lesson. There are three major types of intonation. They are 1. Rising intonation, 2. Falling intonation, and 3. Rising and falling intonation. We should pay attention to the sentences and use proper intonation as to avoid misunderstanding. This is the end of the lesson. See you next time. Thank you for joining us for this lesson. This online course is founded by Ministry of Education.